coming to you from Inge's Knitting Lab in Denmark. Welcome to this episode where we talk about the construction of the European shoulder, and welcome back if you've seen more of the tutorials or my knitting podcast in general. In this one I will go by sequence how you do the different steps of a European shoulder design, and specifically this one, which I call the tree trunk sweater. If you're interested in making this one, you will find a link in the description box below. And we will also look at the crucial key measurement of this sweater, being this cross back measurement to define your top size of the sweater. And then we will look at how to pick the correct size for you of the sweater, and also look at the different options you may apply in this sweater pattern to make the sweater fit exactly your body type. So let's get started. Let's start with the first key measurement, being the cross back measurement. And my husband has kindly helped to show you the measurement here on his body, but it would be the same measurement whether or not you're a male or a female. And this is a very key measurement to do the construction right. And we measure from this bone sticking out here in the sides called acromion. So we measure from AC point to AC point. It is a bone joining the collarbone and the outer tip of the shoulder blade. So it should be possible to feel it, at least if you're slim like my husband. It's a bit harder on me, but it is there, I can assure you. Okay, so we measure from here to here, and in his case it is 44 centimeters. That's around 17 1/4. So that's the measurement. And let me just show you here why this is a crucial measurement. Because in the European shoulder construction, also called the diagonal seam construction, you start knitting top down here in the back, and you do the increases for the diagonal shoulder, and you stop exactly in this sweater design at this point, at the acromion point, because then onwards you go straight down in a line in the male pattern, and in the female pattern you start defining the sleeve cap. So that's why it's an important point. You could see other European shoulder construction go further down, and then it will be kind of a drop shoulder design. But in this case, in my male pattern, it's kind of a set-in sleeve, and in the female pattern, it's a bell-sleeved design. Yes, that's it. Let's move on. It's raining now, so maybe you can both hear and see the raindrops on the window behind me, and it definitely got a bit darker in the room here, but I hope it works anyway. Yeah, back to the construction here. So I've tried to figure out who actually invented this construction back in the day, but I haven't succeeded, I think. Some references led me back to a woman with a username Gorgonator on Ravelry, but if it was actually her and which year she did her first design doing the European shoulder construction or diagonal shoulder seam, I don't know. So if anybody of you out there know, please let me know. But what I know is that many designers use this type of construction because it sits so well on the upper body, so you can tailor make your design. And maybe many of you know it as the coconut method. And Coconut has made a great book where she explains about this construction, and you can see pictures and all. So I use this as well in my design of this tree trunk sweater. I have just added my own little twist to it, where I try to approximate a bit more a bell-shaped sleeve. So that's my addition to the design, I would say. So yeah, let's move on. I will now show you how we, in overview, how we knit this female tree trunk sweater using the European shoulder construction. We start at the back piece on circular needles, however we are going back and forth and doing increases on the back until we reach this point here, and this is exactly the point of the acromion, so that will give us the width of the sweater. And when we reach this point, we have such a piece here, back piece, and then we stop and we turn around the knitwear. Let me just do it. So we have turned the piece around, and now we start picking up stitches for the front shoulder pieces, and we do this at the diagonal shoulder edge here. So we pick up stitches and stop when we reach the point just going over the shoulder. Then we do the other shoulder piece until we reach the point of the shoulder, the same distance of course. Then we have 3 separate pieces on the needles, 2 front shoulders and the back piece. So now it's time to connect the pieces, and the way we do it is that we connect at the edge of the shoulder piece here. So we go round on the first shoulder piece, then we pick up stitches here at the edge to start shaping the sleeve cap, which will turn into this bell-shaped sleeve. And when we come to this point, this is the back, so we don't have any more on the needle, so we just go round the back and get to the next shoulder piece over here, where we do exactly the same thing. We pick up stitches at the edge to start shaping the sleeve cap. And while doing so, shaping the sleeve cap, we also start shaping the neckline and do increases for the neckline. Still going back and forth. But now, let me just arrange the sweater. Soon we reach the part where we want to close for the neck hole here. You can see the neck hole. So we cast on stitches here, and from then onwards we start going in the round on the circular needles. And while doing so, we do the sleeve increases, no body and no front and back increases yet, but we soon reach those to do raglan increases both on body and sleeves until we get to the place where we need to separate body and sleeves. And this is where we take a rest in our knitwear and try on the sweater to see how it works. And I would highly recommend you, and I do this in the pattern, that before you do the body and decide and choose on your options, you do the neckline. And when you have done your neckband of your liking, the sweater sits exactly on the upper body as you want it, and then you can better rely on your options for the body part. So now we have finalized what I call part 1 of the sweater, being the yoke, and we are ready to start with the body part and all the options. Moving on to the next poster here, where you can see all the different body types, and this was the foundation of my inspiration to do this sweater to fit every body type and size. And you will here in the table see suggestions on which of these sweater options to apply depending on your body type. However, it is always a matter of your preferences, but according to references I have read, some of these may be more flattering on the body, on your body than others. But let's have a look and again take my example. So we can take it from the top here and see bust shaping is independent of body type, because it is dependent on your bust size. So I guess every different type could have benefit from bust shaping depending on your bust size. And I would say that if you have a cup size of A and B, maybe disregard everything about bust darts. It will become obvious when we try on the sweater. Then the tummy shaping. This would apply again if when you reach the fullest point of your tummy and the sweater is shorter in the front than in the back, then you can apply tummy darts. It's the same principle as bust darts, and this would perhaps be applicable for the diamond rounded and pear-shaped body. Let's move on to the waist shaping, hourglass shaping, which will help us giving the illusion of an hourglass, even though we may not have one. And according to literature, your inverted triangle shape may benefit from such a shaping of your knitwear, and of course the hourglass shape, but also the pear shape could perhaps benefit. The A-line shaping option is where you make an empire cut just below your bra and start increasing to give more room for your hips. So this option is could be of course where you need it for your hips with a rounded shape and the pear shape and the diamond shape, but it might as well be a good idea for a rectangular shape or an inverted triangle shape, so that you can give more illusion of more hips. So maybe you should give it a go. So then there's the neck option, and that's depending on your size and your shape. It may benefit you to show more skin or less skin, and typically I would say this neck option 2, which allows you to see more skin, is perhaps more flattering on an inverted triangle, a rectangle, a diamond, and a rounded and a pear-shaped body, because in this way you balance the illusion when looking at your body. I have talked a lot more about this in one of my previous episodes, so I don't want to do this again here. You can have a look in this episode, even though I touch upon it. I can tell. Okay, so that was about the options, so let's move on. We have now finalized knitting the first part of the sweater, the yoke part. So now we are ready for part 2, the body part. So I have folded the sweater for you to see the different applications or options I've chosen for my sweater. So the knitting direction is here's the cast on stitches at the underarm, and this is the knitting direction going in the round towards the hem. So the first thing that I need to decide is whether or not to use bust darts, and it becomes very obvious when trying on the sweater. And if it levels front and back at the fullest point of your bust, then you can go onwards knitting. If not, if the fabric raises in the front, you may like to apply bust darts. And when then to start the bust darts, it is at the fullest point of your bust, and it is the distance from the underarm cast on is depending on your bust size. So the bigger the bust, the more circumference, the longer the distance before you start. I've added some approximated centimeters or inches in the pattern. However, use the rule of thumb, just try on your sweater and see if it levels. And the smaller the bust, the shorter the distance. I would say, maybe as a rule of thumb, if you have a bust, a cup size A and B, maybe you do not need these, most probably you don't need these bust starts from C and upwards, I would say, maybe, but it will become obvious. And if you like the sweater to raise a bit in the front, just continue without the bust starts. But you can see here that when doing the bust starts, they make a slight angle here on the sweater. So the next point is to decide if you want an hourglass shape or an A-line waist shape, and I have chosen the hourglass, so let's walk through that one first. So when to start the hourglass shaping? You start immediately after you have done the bust starts. If you didn't apply bust starts, you still start at the fullest point of your bust, and you start doing decreases, and then you make a distance here in between without any more decreases. And then how long should this distance be? I have some guidance in the pattern, but again, I love the rule of thumb that when you reach approximately 5 centimeters above your navel, it's time to do the increases again. So that's what I did, and I started doing the increases here to get the number of stitches, the same amount of stitches as of the bust circumference, and I started the hem. If you want to choose an A-line cut, where to start this one? If you need the bust starts, you finalize those, and then you continue knitting until you reach the point below your bra. So in the sides there is this upper edge and lower edge of your bra. So at the lower edge of your bra you start the increases, and then you do the increases. You can do it in a slight increase, or you can do a more, what I call more moderate, maybe that's the wrong word in English, but a little one and a bigger one, depending on what you need for your hips. And the increases, they kind of look like this. So you get more and more tree trunks in the middle until you reach the circumference on the hips that you like. Yes, that's how it works with the body options. Now let's have a look at this sweater measurement table here and see if we can find a good size of a sweater for me. You can see I have made circles around my different measurement, and you can see I'm all over the place in this table. And this is why my case is a bit tricky. I guess I'm a bit out of the extraordinary. Most of you would fit into one size with all your measurements. But however, if there is someone out there just like me who has different measurements, I really intend this sweater to fit all of us. So let's have an example talk from my measurements and see what we can do and which size to pick based on the construction of this design. So let's take it from the top, the back cross shoulder measurement. My measurement is 17¼ of an inch, which is 44 centimeters, and that would fit me in between sizes here, actually between size 2XL and 3XL. I'm just in the outer edge of the 2XL. And when you look at the chest circumference, my chest is 45 inches, 114 centimeters, and this would give me a size XL. And that is given that I follow the recommendations, or not the suggestion, for a positive ease in this pattern with 7 to 10 centimeters of ease, which is 1¾ of an inch and 4 inches. So that's what I have used here for reference. When looking at my sweater length, I fit into a size small because I'm not very high. And hips wise, my measurement is 44 inches, 112 centimeters. I made the circle here in the slight A-line hip circumference, and that is if you should choose to increase for the hip size And then the waistline of mine is 43 inches, 109 centimeters, and that would fit me into a size XL if I use the option of the hourglass shape. So even though I do the decreases, I would still have the positive ease around the waist in a size XL. So you can see what to do, because this is all over the place. How come it looks like this? Yeah, seen from the top, the cross back measurement, I have always had a wide back, so I'm born like this. However, it has increased a bit with me lifting. I love strength training, and I have lifted heavy weights, I would say, for a woman. And this has increased my back and my back volume, so to speak. But also, when you look at my chest measurement, it's not necessarily my cup size, it's rather the muscle here in the chest that is bigger and has increased my chest volume. Because when you look at the other measurements, you will see that when I am a small person, if I was normal weight, that's another thing, I've gained weight the past years. And this was one surprise, because suddenly when doing these measurements again, I could see that actually I have approximated an hourglass shape. I always thought I was an inverted triangle, but now gaining weight, it is sitting here on my hips. So maybe that's a good thing, because it kind of evens out my silhouette. But back to the table. So what to do? We start from the top again. And as you can see, the width of the shoulders are actually the same for size large, XL and 2XL. And this makes a difference for me when picking sizes here, because as I'm in the outer edge of size 2XL, if I chose a 3XL, I would be off the chart for every other measurement I have. So I would definitely go towards 2XL. But now that I see that in the pattern, starting at the back, it actually has the same size for XL and 2XL, then I would choose a 2XL. Now I fit with two of my measurements, the chest measurement and also my waistline. We disregard the sweater length. I would adjust it no matter the size of the sweater. And then there's the hip size. I won't go to a size large due to my hips. I will just conclude that my hips are not as wide as my shoulders. And then I will perhaps choose this hourglass shape to make the illusions of some more hips than I have already. And I will not do an A-line shaping. That's, I guess, not for my body shape. So giving this information now with a stitch count of 20 stitches per 10 centimeters, I would go for a size XL with a 10 centimeter ease. However, if I want 20 centimeters of ease, that is much more ease, I would perhaps do a size 2XL. So that is my option here. Just a small add-on to picking a sweater size, because in the pattern it calls for 20 stitches per 4 inches. However, if you don't have this gauge, you are using another type of yarn, for example, or you don't get the gauge, then you can also juggle sweater sizes depending on your stitch count and your gauge swatch. So have a look in tutorial edition 2, and here you will find more information on picking a sweater size depending on your gauge. Yeah, that was just an add-on. We've reached the end of the episode now. I hope you enjoyed it and perhaps got a bit wiser on the European shoulder construction. If you would like to make one, there are lots of patterns out there. If you like to make mine, you can see a link to the pattern on Ravelry here down below in my description box. And if you have questions to the construction in general or in mine specific, please leave me a note or a question or a comment, and I will answer the best I can. If you do the pattern and meet a roadblock, please write me and I will try to help you. So hopefully I will see you in an upcoming episode in the series on European shoulder constructions and this sweater. Otherwise, perhaps I will see you in one of my ordinary knitting podcast episodes. So Raja and over from Inge's Knitting Lab here. Color me happy. Bye bye.